Ahoy hoy, welcome to the absolute mess that is the Imperfection Shed's resin room. Lots of requests to do videos of how my stuff is made. So I'm going to start with one of my resin vases. I posted about that before. Shall we start? So, 2-litre plastic pot. This is eucalyptus wood. I unfortunately had to take down an old Australian gum tree from my garden, and I've saved it, seasoned it, and we fill this up as best we can. So again, the plan is pack this in as tightly as I can without breaking the plastic pot, which, as you may expect, I have. In the middle, you can use any old offcuts to fill that up with little bits. All helps to reduce the resin. And there we go. Now, wood does have this habit of making things float. So the idea of packing it tightly is also that things won't float up. And if they're not tight, I will put a bit of tape over it. Here's one I made earlier. So right now, we need some resin. Maybe a cup of tea first. Okie dokie. So, got a pot full of stuff. We now need some resin. Here's some pink I made earlier, but through reasons of me being disorganised, I've decided to do this one in half pink and half purple. So, Epodex, because this is going to have a lot of colour powder in it, you don't need the Epodex Pro for this. I'm just using the standard Epodex. It's also really important to make sure you either make exactly the right amount, or you've got something to do with it if there's any left over, which is where my skulls and Christmas trees that you may have seen in my show come in, so I don't waste any. So this is Eco Plus. So this is a deeper pour resin, so you can pour about 5 centimetres with it. To the gram, makes me happy. With big bits of resin like this, I will use a mixing paddle. Mixing is so important. There's a little bit that isn't mixed enough, it won't set, and again, your whole product is ruined. All of this advice is coming from my very expensive mistakes. So, I've mixed it as well as it needs to be mixed. Now to put in some pigment. Really hope you don't think I'm any sort of expert at this, because I've done it a bit, but I'm certainly not an expert. Okie dokie, so having mixed the resin, I'm now going to vacuum it, and that reduces the pressure, means all of the bubbles that have gone into it through its manufacturing process of me mixing it become a lot bigger, and therefore they're more likely to rise to the surface and pop and not be in the resin. So here's that lovely liquid diamond fire purpley resin. There you go.
Can you see the bubbles? Bubbling away. So that's why we vacuum our resin.
I'm back. So I've got my pink and purple resins that we made before. If you've seen some of the multicolour finished lamps, I made one with just the pink earlier, but this one I'm going to pour it very, very slowly at either side. So you get a pink side, purple side, and a sort of a mix in the middle, hopefully. But the trick is slow. Now, unfortunately, vases like this won't be as tall as this pot. Oh, there you go. Tipped it over. Because the wood soaks up some of the resin, so the level does go down. But I can't leave it till it's all soaked in to put it under pressure in the pressure pot, because then the resin will start to go off. So I need to get it in there PDQ. Let's try a little. So, significant miscalculation, but it's quite similar. I'll put that in that and use that in the other pot over there. So, We've sucked it. Now it's time to squeeze it. No bang or blow though. Well, there's a blow when we take it out of the pot, but we'll get to that later. So now, whoa, into the pressure chamber. Oh, this is the bigger of my two pressure chambers. Do all these up because we're going to get up to, where do we get to? About 60 psi, which is what, 4 bar, 4 times atmospheric pressure. And you will know that any pressure vessel is in fact a bomb. So we are not going anywhere near its limits. Add on the air supply and fill it up. Okie dokie. Time to release the pressure in the pressure vessels. The vase blanks have been in there for 3 days now. So pressure release. That's the pressure out. And there it is. That looks nice. I like that. Right, now to demold the blank. Won't come out, not very easily, so I got a trick. Bit of compressed air. Hear it coming apart, and out it pops. So, now time to mount it on the lathe.
I've just given it a quick go to centre it. You can get it roughly centred, but now it's all spinning beautifully. It's just a case of making sure that I get the right amount of eucalyptus wood exposed. It doesn't always look good. You can see there with just a little bit of resin over it. A little bit more to come off there. And then try to put some sort of shape into it. Here we go. So, as is normal for me, the pattern that I've used here is entirely novel. I've simply chosen where to do some grooves simply on where it would try to bring out the best bits of the wood. So now I'm going to try to get rid of this knobbly bit, turn it around so that I can put a nice groove in the bottom for the clamp to hold it, and then we can drill out the middle. So that's the major hole out. Just need to tidy it up a bit on the top. This is a bit tricky to do and not get in your way. Hopefully a bit better. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Now for the flood coat. So, as I really quite like my lathe, I'm quite keen to not get epoxy resin on it, which I'm fairly certain is what that is, but that I can stand off. What I don't want to do is end it up in any of the parts of the mechanism of my chuck, because these are expensive. So the way I've found to sort it out is give it a condom. Hey! Oh, sorry. Hey! But it's a slightly different vase than before, but doesn't matter. So first things first, we've got a pot, a vase ready for flood coating. I've geared my lathe down to run at its slowest possible, but that's fine for a short period of time. You will see on my lathe, the fan is directly on the shaft of the motor. So if the motor's barely turning, the fan's barely turning. So this is my solution. Get a little fan, stick it over the motor, stops it overheating. I've got my glass cast resin. Now, it's the same with painting. Everything is down to prep. So I want to get this as clean as I can. I'm just going to give it a bit of a squirt of isopropyl alcohol, just as a bit of a cleaner. Sanding to a high finish, to be fair, just looks amazing, but it takes so incredibly long. Let's take it off. We're going to use this as a vase. We want it completely sealed. So I'm going to put a bit of resin in the base. Don't have to worry about it too much. Well, that's on. So let's start this nice and slowly. Want a bit of resin on the inside. Let's see how that goes. Doesn't exactly matter massively how the finish is looking right now. It's all going to work its way out in the end, he says, feigning confidence. Some will drop. It's a handy thing about using this bit of cardboard I've got, that it's covered in resin. I've given it a bit of a clean, so it's very easy to scoop any up. Any excess. A bit that I always try to focus on is the lip here, because that bit doesn't always keep the resin in place quite so well. And you see there's already some bits just on the inside there that are a bit short of some resin. I'm just going to drape it. I don't know if you can see, my arm's probably in the way, just on that edge there. What I didn't do with this resin is vacuum it, because I've discovered to my cost that Glass Cast 3 does not like being vacuumed. It seems to flash cure. I think that looks pretty good. How is it on the inside? Pretty good too. What an amazing colour green that is. So now I leave it till overnight, and then that should be nicely set. Certainly set enough that it's not going to move, but then I leave it for another day to completely go off. Here we are next morning. Pretty good result, I reckon. 1.5 thumbs up. And here we have a couple of finished articles. And I think that looks pretty cool. So that's how I make my imperfection shed vases. I make them imperfectly, and I'm sorry if I've offended anyone with my terrible techniques, but I thought that might have been a bit of interest. If you'd like to acquire one of these pots, then please let me know. I can make them pretty much in any wood and any colour you like. These are the blanks I've already prepared that I will hopefully be turning over the next few weeks. So, pretty much most colours. I'm pretty excited about that multicolour one at the top. And this blue and purple has come out just fantastically. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and
Bye.